Last week's Project Rebalance update brought new changes across the game, including the blast mine. So in today's video, I'll be going over all of the changes that have been made to blast mine, and I'll be showing you the sexiest little method that I have found, the most efficient way possible. First, we're going to take a look at the news post and just see exactly what's changed. So blast mine, they say, we visually reworked the area of the blast mine, which we will look at, upped XP by about 10% across the board, lowered the price of dynamite, decreased the explosion radius of dynamite by 1 tile. So now you only need to be 2 tiles away. So if you're only 1 tile away from the blast radius, you'll still get hit. I think it ranges between like 11 and like 14 damage or something. Increased the blasted ore despawn timer, which is significant, by the way. I was doing some tests. And increased sack capacity. So I don't know exactly how much this has been increased. Now that I've made my hour-long video and I reset everything, I think I'm gonna just see how how full this bag can really get. But I'm not sure what it is yet. So as soon as I find out, or as soon as anybody knows, you can leave a comment. But if I find out, I will leave a picture of it on my Twitter. So go follow me down on Twitter. And while you're down in the description, drop a like on the video. A new reward from the Kebos Elite Diary increases your chance to obtain higher tier ores by 10%. So not only is the XP increased by 10%, but there's also an additional 10% for completing the Elite Diary. All I'm going to say is across the board, it's more efficient to do this, and there's new spots. So let's just like take a little gander around, and I'm going to show you kind of what the place looks like. So here's a little map overview of what it looks like now. So there's one, is there only 2 banks? I thought there was 3 banks. Okay, there is 3 banks, but for some reason, there's not a bank icon right there, which is really odd. So I'm pretty sure there's actually 4 banks. I think there's a bank right here too. They should really do their due diligence with, you know, the banks, putting the banks. I mean, I know they don't need to put a mining site on every goddamn little mining thing. I think that would be unnecessary. Like literally they could just move the mining symbol right in the middle and then just put the actual banks where they are. Now, of course, when you're doing blast mine, you have to actually deposit your blasted ores into a sack. And right here, for some reason, this is not a sack, which doesn't really make too much sense because it literally looks the exact same as these ore sacks, which you can deposit into. Now, I know the ores are going into this sack, so it makes sense why this one is not deposited into, but like they should at least change the model of this so it's not debating everybody. I was debated by this the first day. So anyway, here's a bank. Now, what you're trying to do, so when I entered here, my first thoughts were like, I have to find a spot that's close enough to a bank to be able to unnote my dynamite. I personally prefer the unnoting of it. So you go over here and then click a 1, you know, instead of actually clicking on the bank and then withdrawing. So I'm trying to find a place where it's close enough to a bank, but it's also close enough to an ore sack. So this place looked absolutely amazing. This little like nice crevice. There'd be like 3 you know, like adjacent corners, which is you really want to be next to the adjacent corners to speed things up like a little bit. But this whole spot was doomed because there is literally no ore sack close enough. Like it would never be worth it to be mining over here and then run all the way to this ore sack. So then I was looking over here, and again, my eye is catching these corners because the corners are really nice. You're able to just click on 2 walls repeatedly and you don't have to waste time moving to a new one. But again, it was just a little bit too far away from this ore sack right here. And this is the spot I actually chose, but I want to just circle over here real quick just to kind of show you. So over here, again, like the bank chest is nice and close, but there's no ore sack close enough. Like this ore sack is too far away to be using these spots over here. I was also hopping through worlds and I saw some bots using this spot, which is nice, don't get me wrong. But this is the spot I finally chose because, one, if you're clicking on this rock, for example, I mean, you are literally 1 tick away from the ore sack. And when you're banking, you're 1 tick away from the wall, which no other place in this mine has. So I was looking over here, and then I was trying to figure out how am I going to plan this? So a lot of trial and error. That's kind of like the beauty of these updates in a way. Like trial and error is annoying, but ultimately it's just like discovery. It's really, really fun discovering things. So of course, excavating these rocks just takes forever, so I'm not going to show you the full process right here. Well, I'll show you exactly what it looks like right now, just real quick. So you deposit the dynamite. For those that don't know anything about this minigame, what you're doing is you're excavating a wall, placing a pot of dynamite, and then you're lighting it. And if you're standing too close, like even right here, if you're standing in the middle or right here, you're going to get exploded. A 13. Or I think it's in between like 11 and a 14. And then what you do is when you get your blasted ore, this ore only lasts a certain amount of time. I think I would need to time it, but I'm pretty sure it's around 2 minutes until this stuff just gets disintegrated from your inventory. Like, so it doesn't even matter if you've picked it up. It will despawn from your inventory. And you want to deposit into this ore sack, and then you get some ore. Each blasted ore gives you 2 ore. I believe that's what it is. And I believe at 75 mining, you can start getting runite ore. But if you're 99 and you have the elite diary, you're going to be getting a lot of runite ore. I will be showing you what the loot looks like from an hour. And again, it's on average, so you're never going to know exactly what your hour is going to bring you. These walls are going to be exploding on you, and you can't just be constantly taking 13s over and over. You're going to die. And it would not be worth it to just bring a bunch of brews. So you have to excavate a wall and then move somewhere else. So with my previous blast mine guide, you see me kind of staggering around the place just so I'm avoiding all explosions. And that's exactly what I was doing here. So I was brainstorming, where would I move from this spot? If this is the closest spot to a bank, this or this spot, which I chose this spot because it's like the same, then the next spot I would go to is this adjacent wall right here. And then I'd have to dodge this explosion. So I couldn't go to this adjacent wall immediately after. I'd have to dodge that explosion. So I'd go over here, only 2 ticks away again. So both of these spots are 2 ticks away. And then that wall would explode. So I'd run over here, excavate these 2. And then I'd have to find another place to run. I couldn't go here. I would have to run to this spot, which is still only 2 ticks away. And that would be 7 total ores at that point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I realized what I wanted to do is really maximize my inventory. So trying to get as much dynamite in with the fewest amount of banking as possible. Banking, it really isn't that much of a time loss because it's right there, but I still wanted to kind of maximize. So I would try to find an 8th spot. When you've excavated a wall, it takes a significant amount of time for that wall to be de-reset. So I couldn't just immediately go back to these adjacent spots. I have to wait for it. There is a cooldown. If I chose to do this wall right here, it's only 2 ticks away. And then what happens is I deposit, and then within 1 tick, I'm at the bank, and then 1 tick at the hard rock. So after a lot of guess and check, and after a bunch of like reviews of that cycle, and I was trying to manipulate it a little bit more, this is really what I came up with. You start here, go to these 2, go back here, then run to these 2, then run to this one, then run to this one, and then that is the cycle completed. So on your first run, you're going to immediately go back here because now you're going to have the blasted ore on the ground. But after every subsequent run, you're going to be running to this ore sack right here, dumping, and then repeating from here. You're going to have 3 total laps of this before your dynamite runs out. So on your 3rd run, every 3, you're going to deposit and then immediately click on the dynamite, click 1, and then repeat. So your inventory fills up, and you're going to be like, wait, how am I going to pick up the blasted ore when my inventory's filled back up? Well, that's because you excavate, explode, and then pick up the ore. So as soon as the dynamite's placed, you have that inventory free, then you pick up before moving to the next wall. There might be little ways of getting exploded and bringing brews and all these other things, and I even tried doing telekinetic grab just to save ticks. Like, so right here, if there was blasted ore on the ground, I was going to try to telekinetic grab this, because what it would do is it would path you right here. You would grab it, and because the telekinetic grab now does not have a delay to continue moving, you would be able to pick it up and have 0 tick loss. But because blasted ore is untradeable, you can't pick it up. Now, I'm going to be showing you an hour-long proof of the XP rates you can achieve, which I was very impressed by. It is over 100k XP per hour. Again, that is assuming you are 99 mining. I'm not sure how much at play the Celestial Ring and the Dragon or Crystal Pickaxe specking is doing. I also was wearing Prospector, which is a very negligible amount. You do want to wear full Prospector when you eventually collect the ore over on this sack, like I was explaining earlier. So you collect by this operator over here. And if you're wearing full Prospector, you do get that mining XP increase. So definitely wear it over there, but you can either do what I do and bring a stam your whole run, or you can just wear Graceful and you're not really losing that much XP at all, maybe like a couple hundred XP. Now I'll provide an hour-long video showing off the XP rates and the GP that you can expect per hour here. Drop a like if this guide has helped you in any way. Be sure to subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Take it easy.